government has some concerns about the ongoing voter registration exercise. Information Minister Kojo Oponkroma had this to say.
As the voters registration exercise has started, and as we observe the exercise, there are many places in which EC officials and security and persons who are registering are doing their best to comply with the social distancing protocols. They are doing that by arranging chairs that have been distanced properly. But there are also many other areas in which it is obvious. From, for example, some of the pieces of footage that you are capturing, people are not observing the social distance protocols. We want to reiterate, security, electoral commission officials, and citizens, we all have a collective responsibility to observe these protocols even as we go about this registration process.
Let's now speak to security expert Colonel retired Festus Abuaje. So, Colonel Abuaje, you have seen both of the incidents, 5 arrests in 3 days. Is that a high number? Should we be concerned?
Well, thank you once again, Daniel. Can you hear me?
Yes, the internet connection may have slipped off a bit, but you're clear. Go ahead.
All right. My understanding of the architecture for the registration is that in total we're going to have about 33,367. But these are distributed into phases. So if clusters, if a cluster consists of 5, then my understanding is that currently there are about 6,670 plus centers that are operational across the country. So given the number of incidents that we've had, even if all the incidents were at the same place or different places, I think we can reasonably say that by and large, the process has been peaceful. But having said that, we should have expected that there were going to be incidents bordering around the compliance with the COVID protocols, which is also a serious matter, as well as some of the issues that have come up, whether assisting persons to fill in the registration forms that might be construed by some other observers as actually registering those persons, or the positioning of the equipment, which according to the EC, when she addressed us on Monday, she was very categorical that the furniture, the staff, the equipment will be positioned in the open of all the different places, whether it's a church or school. I think there has been one episode where you just said that some of the equipment and the staff are inside the building. Some of these violations on the part of individuals, on the part of the EC, for instance, give rise to what I call avoidable incidents. But to the extent that we've not had any violent confrontation, and just a few altercations among individuals, as well as individuals with the security personnel, as well as with the EC, I think we can say that the process has been going on very well.
Right, Colonel, so you mentioned that one of the issues of concern will be the COVID-19 protocols. I remember interviewing the NCCE chair, and she mentioned that we should also rely on the security officials in ensuring that the EI 164, for instance, is applied. Would you agree that this wanton disregard for the safety protocols should also be laid at the doorstep of security officials?
You see, part of the problem that we're having with regards to compliance with the COVID-19 protocols is that we as a people are in denial of our culture. So we mentioned that elections are taking place in South Korea, in Poland, and therefore by extension, we can go ahead with registration any elections in Ghana, knowing very well that the behavior, the cultural behavior, and the attitudes of South Koreans vis-a-vis Poles or Polish vis-a-vis Ghanaians are completely different. Therefore, we should have expected of the EC, which is the electoral management body, to have demarcated the positions, not only within the enclosure, but to have estimated that if we're going to register, let's say, 600, 800 people, and they are to spread out at any one particular time, assuming all 800 are there, they are to spread out at 1 meter distances. They should have marked all those positions. Indeed, some of the exercises that we've seen elsewhere, they have used barriers, you see, and actually marked boxes. Not to have done that, it's a failure on the part of the EC. You see, to lay the blame on Ghanaians, that Ghanaians are not complying with the protocol, is actually what I'm saying is to be in self-denial, because we know that we as Ghanaians wouldn't comply. So therefore, does it mean that we must allow individuals to do whatever it is that they are looking for? Having said that, the police and the other security services also have a role to play in managing the separation or the spacing between individuals. See, I don't think we have had problems with the hand washing, for instance. I don't think so. As long as the buckets and the water and the soap and the tissues are there, I think people are complied together with the sanitizer. The issue has largely been with the congestion, the closeness of persons in the queue and others attempting to jam the queue. They are not, elderly or persons with disability and so on. It's still very early days yet. Today is day 3. There is still room, because we're going to go on until, I think, early August, to try and fix all of these issues.
Yeah, and that was actually the next question I was going to ask. What do we do now? Thank you so very much for touching on that. But I want to find out what you think about a dispute resolution within this process. The issue at the University of Ghana Registration Center is something that looks like a misunderstanding between, unsatisfied parties. Similar to Asawase, we saw something like that happen at Odododio, where registration centers were not there when they should have been there. And the level of mistrust and tension in the system, how do we put protocols down, Colonel, that will ensure that peace will prevail no matter which misunderstanding comes up?
Well, first of all, I would suppose that within the IPAC framework, the EC would have engaged the major stakeholders, i.e. the political parties, and then within the framework of the training that the EC rolled out, together with the education by NCC and so on, all of these issues should have been thoroughly explained. That if EC says that ballot boxes will be positioned outside of school buildings or school rooms, that EC will use its own furniture. Come Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday today, we should have seen EC's own furniture. What we are seeing in the media is not EC's own furniture. So any citizen can raise a challenge to the EC that why have you positioned yourself inside a building? That is not a conflict. I mean, it's a conflict, but it's not a violent dispute. And the EC must accommodate those kinds of, interaction. Secondly, every citizen, an individual who is in that vicinity, has a civic duty to engage with others to try and maintain decorum. And therefore, as individuals belonging to political parties, they also have some responsibility and some leverage to call persons to order or to engage the EC that certain procedures must be realigned. There's nothing wrong with that. You see, but the nature of us is that sometimes we want to operate outside of the law. I don't want to mention names, But this gentleman who keeps saying that anybody can go and register anywhere, actually is creating problems. If anybody can register anywhere, then all of us could have come to Accra to register. So it's absolutely wrong that you should register where you nominally reside. So if there are persons who are raising issues about court, if I may use that word, into those areas to register, they have a right to raise that observation. You see, that it shouldn't result in any physical exchanges.
Okay.
But the lack of understanding of the electoral laws themselves, I think, is part of the problem that we're encountering.
Colonel Festus Abuaje, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on The Pulse.